Here in Cambodia today, it's actually pretty cold. Hey Siri, what's the temperature?
It's currently 23 degrees.
It feels a lot colder than that. I don't even have the air conditioning on. Now, the most important news, what is happening with my tree in my front yard or carport? Well, yesterday I showed you a video of the tree being removed. It was rotten, it was near enough getting dead, it was trying to grow, and they did replant a new tree. I don't know what type of tree it is. If anyone knows, please let me know. But here it is in all its glory. And thank you for the concerns and a lot of information. I think now I'm a tree expert. A little bit earlier today, I did show you a video related to this banner on or in Beijing. This was in Beijing Ring Road 3. Beijing has 6, but it was really close or pretty close to the center of Beijing where the Tiananmen Square is, etc., and where the National Congress is. And this banner basically said, "Go on strike. Down with traitor Xi Jinping, the president or general secretary or dictator of the People's Republic of China," saying that he's corrupt, zero COVID doesn't work, etc. And there was some smoke as well coming out. This wasn't him putting himself on fire, which some reports did actually state, but he was burning some tires. Why to put the smoke? Because, well, everywhere in Beijing or everywhere in every city, there's lots of propaganda banners. So to get people to notice it, this is why he sets up the fire there. He was also wearing a high-vis suit and a hard helmet, so he looked like a road worker or whatever, a road repair person. So people driving on that highway, on that bridge, wouldn't notice or wouldn't really worry about it too much. Even if the police did drive past, they thought, oh, he's just a worker. But soon they realized it wasn't. Now, let's show you the drone footage from above so you can see a different angle which happened on Thursday. This did attract a lot of attention because the National Congress, which we will get to in a moment or two, is on Sunday, tomorrow, which is the 16th of October. But quite a few people actually started putting up some other banners by themselves and posting it on various platforms. Here's one, for example. A citizen puts up pro-democracy banners in Beijing and was arrested. Related images are censored. We people of China want to spread this message that spreads our minds in places won't censorship. We shall meeting the place where it is no darkness. Pretty big statement. And what happens in China, you could say, is people just accept. This is how it is. There's nothing we can do. And these small protests do get noticed worldwide. If this happened in England about Liz Truss, the new Prime Minister, etc., it wouldn't be big news. But it is in China because of the last 10 years has been controlled by possibly one of the worst presidents or leaders of China, Xi Jinping. He has this cute Winnie the Pooh kind of image like this, but underneath him he's just like Mr. Kim from North Korea with a bucket load of money. Now, what is the National Congress? The National Congress happens every 5 years in China, and this is where all basically the politicians gather together in Beijing to discuss the next 5-year plan. China loves plans, and they have to meet these plans. If they don't meet these plans, well, they just re-alter it. So when they did the alleviation of poverty, they just brought down the minimum rate per day for living. So let's say the average was, I don't know, let's say $5 American. They just brought it down to 3. But I did find this feed on Twitter, and this is very, very pro-China, but it explains about the National Congress. Goes like this.
National Congress. And why is this upcoming one so important? The National Congress and its standing committee are the supreme leadership bodies in the Communist Party of China. They meet every 5 years to evaluate the progress of the past 5 years and to chart the course for the next half-decade and beyond. The 2 primary agenda items are decision-making and elections. The party's 20th National Congress will take place in Beijing on October 16th and will offer a general overview of China's 2-stage strategic plan to build a great modern socialist country in all respects. This is why it has been deemed an event of crucial significance at a critical time. What is the CPC National?
Meanwhile, away from Beijing for a moment or two and let's go to Shanghai. And once again, we go into the zero COVID policy. These are some parents protesting outside a university or school, demanding that their children are not going to be taken away to a COVID quarantine centre. We've seen the videos before of these really big, you could say like concentration camps, where they're just locked into this capsule and you would have to stay there and have COVID tests. 2 COVID tests in a row means you are released. 1 and then a positive, you start all over again, and you will have these tests every day. These parents are saying enough is enough. You can really tell that China is just tired of the whole process, and while the rest of the world just gets on with life, that COVID is like a thing of the past. It's still there. People are aware. But again, a lot of people have had the injections. It doesn't make them feel safe, but you make it feel more protected as each day there seems to be less and less cases in countries around the world. Japan just opened up its borders, and you can go to Japan if you've had 3 vaccines and you don't need to go into quarantine, which is good news. So Asia is slowly opening up here as well. This country, you can come here and there's no checks, but obviously they recommend that you take out some health insurance, like you should do, or travel insurance wherever you go. Waffling a bit too much, but here is the video of all the mums complaining to the outside the city gates, saying enough is enough. Now we will be getting to the title of this show, which is actually sort of like, ooh, why did I put that in the actual title? Chinese communism comes to the UK. We will be getting to that in a moment or two. Now, in another city in China, again, lockdown involves the barbed wire, or another word for it is razor wire. Now, please do note, this is not everywhere in China. These are just the pockets of what's happening. And yes, it is the negative side of China. UK politics I want to get into, and Boris Johnson resigned, the Prime Minister who got the UK through the COVID. Well done, Boris. The new Prime Minister is Liz Truss, and she's a little bit evil, but she actually sacked the new Chancellor. She actually sacked her Chancellor over the mini budget that they had not so long ago. But there is a new Chancellor who is very pro-China. Pro-China, that he believes in zero COVID. And here's a little interview that he did. This is just how I think it feels like communism is coming to the United Kingdom. And you have a Chancellor of the Exchequer, the person in charge of all the money that the United Kingdom has. This is UK gone crazy.
With the central point in Gabriel's paper that we should be aiming for zero infection and elimination of the disease, because that is basically the approach taken in countries which have a SARS strategy as opposed to a flu strategy. And those are the countries that have overwhelmingly been the most successful in tackling coronavirus. My sister lives in Beijing, and she flew back to Beijing in the middle of lockdown. And just to give you an idea of the contrast, she was escorted from the airport in Beijing to her home by Ministry of Health officials, and then put into her home for 2 weeks quarantine. The door was sealed, and she had a police car sitting outside her house periodically. Now, I'm not saying we go that far in this country, but I just think it's an indication of how serious they are in the countries that have had to deal with SARS about stop.
I would say that most of the people in the UK would not agree with him. There'd be a very small amount of people who would. So he would be actually happy with this kind of situation. If you have got this far, many thanks for doing that. Now, some messages related to YouTube. My subscriptions have gone down, so please do check your subscription that it's still there. Just resubscribe, that would be fantastic. If you haven't and watch the channel on a regular basis, then please do subscribe. It helps the algorithm of the channel grow. If you do like, please press that like button. I know sometimes it's hard on Apple TV that you've got to go and switch it around, but on a phone or a computer, it's easy. Please do leave some comments. I do read all of them, and you know if I read it because I will put the heart sign there for you. And I will wish you a happy weekend wherever you are. Be good, be well, be safe. Think of the people who are not as fortunate as us to live a simple and quiet life. You could call lucky. Thank you, and have a awesome, epic day. Bye-bye.